Obi-Doo, it's everyone's favorite boomer and vintage lens enthusiast, and I'm going to discuss the Pentax DSLR line again and all the pros and cons of this system. There's the K100 D, 6 megapixel, K200 D, 10 megapixel, the KR, which is a 12 megapixel. What do they have in common? They all have shake reduction. Even for manual vintage lenses, there's when the camera boots up, it asks you to input the lens's focal length in, and then you're good to go. What else does these do? The folder that you would save your pictures in, you could tell to create a folder every time, every day when the camera turns on. So if I was to go shooting with any of these, I turn the camera on, it creates a folder for that day. And for that day, all the pictures would go into that folder, which is great, to help you keep track of your shooting habits, right? Or going back and figuring out what you could do. It's compatible, supposedly, with every K-mount lens ever made. Well, yes and no. And I think we're going to discuss that right now. There is a manual focus confirmation icon in the viewfinder strip along the bottom of the screen. It's a little green hexagon. Plus you get a beep, which means nothing. And you get a red dot lights up in the center of the screen. They superimpose a red LED in the center of the screen. But the thing you got to pay attention to is the green hexagon in the status strip. So if you notice, this is a 50mm f2, this is a 135 2.5, and this is the 28 2.8. All of these lenses will focus properly with the onboard autofocus or the focus confirmation, because these are manual lenses. But when you turn the lens, when you see the green hexagon light up, you know you're in focus. This lens, I have like a 99.9% success rate, even under marginal lighting conditions. And I've noticed that. They all do it with the longer lenses. I have a 70-210 zoom, and I never had any problems hitting the autofocus. One caveat, it loves bright light. The autofocus works better the brighter the light is. All right, there's that. The 28 2.8, I was able to successfully focus on on close-ups. If I was close up, say I'm using hyperfocal distance, but I'm at a range. F8 only goes down to 5 feet, so something's 3 or 4 feet away. I was able to successfully use the focus confirmation to get a good focus at those lower distances. Now, all of these lenses, I tried these all at their hyperfocal distance. With a 135 unit f8 is like negligible. But since the focus confirmation works throughout the range, it doesn't matter. Of course, this one has the most depth of field. Notice these two both have, no, does this one have it? No. It doesn't. This one has an orange marker, but this one does not. Okay. But the depth of field scale works very good with this lens, and it works very good with this lens. So even if you don't want to be bothered shooting, as long as you're within the hyperfocal distance, you don't have to focus. Everything will be sharp enough. This lens, well, it has shallow depth of field. You're pretty much going to have to focus on the subject you want. Even stop down to f22, you're going to get like 30, 25 feet or something like that. So, but now, I spoke previously about the Pentax M 24mm f2.8, and I cannot successfully focus that lens with any of these cameras. Not at all. When the green confirmation light lit up, it was hit or miss. That's how bad it is. Now let's put these cameras aside for a minute and focus on the KR. The KR has a live view, which sort of means you think it's an advanced camera, right? Let's turn it on for a minute. See, there it is. It asks for the lens focal length is for shake reduction. So you hit this button, accept. The info screen will go away as soon as you hit the shutter button, or the info shuts it off. Okay, there you go. Now LV means live view, and here you can see it's live view. Can I focus with this? No, I can't get close enough. But even with the live view and the 24 millimeter 2.8, I cannot successfully fine-tune the focus. With the 28 2.8, it works beautiful. You know, there's no doubt about it. These three lenses work interchangeably on any one of these cameras, right? But the 24 2.8, if you went out and bought that lens and you spent $200 for it or something, and you tried it on any one of these cameras, you say this is a garbage lens, and you would send it back. But it's not. On a mirrorless camera like the Sony or the Pentax, the Nikon, I got the Z50, and I was able to get outstanding results with the 24 millimeter. It's still a little dicey to focus it, but the Z50 has a really nice clear screen. You can magnify it really well, and it looks really good. I have the A5000 series, which is either exactly the A5000 or A5100, and you had to fiddle with it, but you could get the precise focus, and then you get good results. But on any one of these cameras, you cannot. You just cannot. And even in a live view, this has a very coarse live view. And what happens is when you hit the focus, you don't get zebra stripes, but everything is like, it looks like it's made out of lines or something. And if you're outside of that focus, then it just looks blurry. So it's not a true zebra focus, but it's sort of related. Now, the 50 millimeter f1.4 is a fantastic lens, and it's an A lens, which means that you could put this in S or A mode and dial in the aperture through the camera, because it's an actual A lens. There's no electronic coupling installed in manually, but it still works, and you could dial in. The only trouble is you cannot autofocus with the f1.4. Forget about it. In dim lighting conditions where you want to use the f1.4, forget about it. No can do. Not even close. You know, it's like it was hit or miss. You get lucky if you got the focus correct. Let's put it that way. So yes, you could in bright daylight stop it down to f8 or something and use your hyperfocal distance, but that's all you could do. I could not get that thing to focus with any one of these cameras. Oh, except with the KR in live view mode. In live view mode, you can successfully focus the 1.4. So where do these things claim to fame? I got this for $100. I got this for $100. I got this in a kit lens for like $120. Of course, the kit lens is garbage. I got rid of it, even though it was a DA version kit lens. So are these good cameras? Yes, they take good pictures. Even though this is 6 megapixel, it takes good pictures. It's got excellent Pentax color. From 100 to 800, of course, there's no noise really. And this one goes up to 3200, but 1600, 3200 are noisy in this. This has a more advanced menu where it does have a on or off noise reduction for high ISO, and this will go up to 1600. And it's usable in bright light, not so much in dim light. This thing has better noise reduction control, and it goes up to 6400. And of course, this is most advanced camera, and it looks a little bit smaller than all the rest. Because they got rid of the top LCD screen. All right, and if you look, these don't have any painting or things here. You have to press the FN button, and then a graphic representation pops up on the screen, and then you navigate that way. Whereas this one actually has the buttons or have painting or markings, and you know what they are. So are these bad cameras? No. It's just that they do have limited functionality. Now, if you had any one of these cameras and you went out and bought these three lenses, you would have a nice kit. You would have a 28, a 50, and a 135. The only trouble is at the 1.6 crop factor, this 50 millimeter is really 75 millimeter, and a 28 millimeter is really what's half of 28? 28 is 14. 14 and 28, that would be 42. So it'd be like a short normal lens. It really wouldn't be wide angle. So the 24 millimeter, if you divide that by 2, you get 12 and add it. That'd be 36, and that'd be really a standard, what you call standard wide angle. But you can't focus with it. You can't focus with it. I also noticed that it does have some sort of distortion. It's minor, but it's still there and it's noticeable. That's on the 24 millimeter. This is a really rectilinear lens, and it's a very, very beautiful lens. So, but I mean, this is the limit of really what you could do with vintage lenses with this line. Of course, there's all other aftermarket lenses you could try on them and see what they do. But you know, that begs the question, because in previous videos I was talking about how these kit lenses, like the DA, which I think was 18 to 55, I had a 28 to 80, they all focused and seemed to be better at the long end of the zoom rather than the short end of the zoom. And that could be because whatever autofocus they have in here does not, or can't handle wide angle lenses, and it can't maybe see something, I don't know. Now, the one thing that I know has helped is you clean your mirror. Let's look at this one. Buy an old camera like this, you don't know how long it's been around. The mirror gets dirty and it gets dusty. And what it is, it's semi-transparent in the middle. So what happens, when light goes through it, there's another mirror that reflects it down, and the sensor for the autofocus is down in there. It's underneath the mirror. I don't want to lift the mirror up, but that's the way it works. So if your mirror is dirty, it could be interfering with the light going through, scattering light and not letting enough light get through that it can mess up your sensor. So how would you clean your mirror? Well, you get a Q-tip and your favorite cleaner, whether it's some blue window cleaner or the more modern Rain Zero or glass invisible stuff. So you wet your Q-tip. Don't saturate it so it leaks, drops all over. You just want to spray it so it's wet, but it doesn't leak. Then you gently rub or move it around, cover the whole mirror, right, with this stuff. Get another clean Q-tip, and use gloves too, so you don't get the finger oil contamination. And you just keep drying it. You may need 3 Q-tips to dry it properly. Now what you want to do is you want to get your can of air and blow it in, but you don't want to stick the nozzle right next to the mirror because you can knock the silver plating off. This is a first surface mirror. So you got to hold it back like this, short little burst like that, you know, jiggle the camera around a little bit and then get rid of dust. And that will help improve your autofocus somewhat. So remember, you don't go overboard, you don't go crazy. This is a delicate mechanism, so you don't try and you use a 5,000 psi blaster that wrecks everything. You just want to go far enough away with your blaster to knock the residual dust off, but not enough to damage. And you don't want to use a cleaner to run all over anything and ruin the mechanism either. So, am I going to get rid of this camera? Well, maybe I'd like to, but I feel like I'm stuck with these. They're totally useless. I mean, they're totally without value these days. Even this with the KR, which is the most advanced of the group, well, I don't know what you could get for that, you know. So, look at this. I could leave the 50 millimeter on the K100. I could leave this 135 on the K200, and I could leave the 28 on the KR. What do I do with the 24 millimeter and the 50 millimeter 1.4? I use a mirrorless camera on them. So, you know, that's the thing. If you want to get into digital photography, this body's $50, this body's $50, this body's $50. Maybe this one's $25. In excellent, like new condition, you know, that's the thing. And then it'd be worth it to pick up a cheap 50 millimeter, cheap 28, and a 135. The 135 2.5s, they're the best. They make 2 types. They make a Takumar version. Is this the Takumar? No, this is the SMC Pentax. But they have another one called the Takumar, and the writing is up here. And this is made in Japan. The Takumar is made in Taiwan. They both have excellent build quality. This one I would have to give the edge to optical quality, but it's really, really super close. And you know what? They're better than any 2.8s out there, although you're going to pay a premium for it. So that's up to you. But let me tell you, that even the cheap 2.8s are pretty decent. So you stop down the F4, they all look identical, really. So they've got that going for them. But that's the way the Pentax, this old ancient line of Pentax cameras, came out. Maybe you have different results, and well, you know, this is what I found out. I got 3 cameras. I put all these lenses on them, swapped them back and forth. There's all sorts of tests that you aren't going to see. Like I took a picture of the wall in my bedroom. It has some fancy wallpaper on it and a couple lamps and stuff, and just to see what could happen and how these lenses react. And this is what I found. So you could take it or leave it, or discount it, or believe me. So that's it for today. I show you their features.